Welcome to Canada's podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Canada's podcast. This is the Atlantic Canada version. I'm your host, Rivers Corbett, and really pleased to have my colleague and friend here on the podcast with me today, Kimberly White-Vincent from St. John, New Brunswick. We're going to take you on a little bit of a journey with her business, which is all about helping people feel good. So I'll get into that in just a second. Welcome to the show, Kim.
Thank you for having me, Rivers. This is fantastic. I've been looking forward to having this conversation.
You have been for sure. Well, it's great to have it. And folks, what Kimberly does, and she's in the massage world. She hangs out with those people, me included, who really understand the value, who really understand the benefits of getting massage. And what's neat about this conversation is that when she came out of school right away, she started her business, which is really a testament to her moxie, her resolve, and her sense of grabbing risk and running with it. Not a lot of her colleagues, I presume, Kimberly, did that. They probably went and worked for other people. So you were being a rebel for sure. So anyway, what I want to do first is kind of go through that headspace when you came out of, what school did you go to for massage?
Kine Concept Institute for Massage Therapy in Fredericton.
All right, cool. So when you came out of Kine, what was in your head when you said, no, I'm going to start my own, when everybody else was off running and working for somebody else?
Well, I think I always had a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit in me, and right. I never wanted to be the person that was working for someone else. I had goals and aspirations that I wanted to put into place right away. And I came from a history of no other entrepreneurs in my family. So I sort of had to bootstrap it and learn along the way.
Right.
It was a very interesting beginning, but
take us through that though.
Yeah.
I want to learn about your beginning, because a lot of people leaning into this podcast are newbies also. So talk about, did you get a building? Did you get a room somewhere? What did you end up doing?
Well, I was actually just right across the parking lot from where I am right now here on in Millage Avenue in St. John, New Brunswick. And what used to be a women's fitness center, I happened to pop in there one day while I was in school and provide them a resume and told them that I was a massage therapy student. And the owner of the gym said, wow, we're looking for a massage therapist. Would you like to come and, see some space? So I started off working inside that gym right out of school.
Nice.
And had a little space of about 100 square feet, just enough for me and my client, and worked at building up my clientele and learned what it meant to do advertising and to, get to know your clients and really build a network and get to know the people in the community, to put my name out there, because at that point I was brand new. The only thing I had was my name and my reputation and positive word of mouth, starting off. That was the dirt, if you would, of the hard.
You just dove in.
Getting it. Pardon me?
You just dove right in.
I did. I think, when you have that sort of spirit and that that's what you want to do, you just kind of let it go and you flow with it, and don't let fear and all those worries of everybody else. I had to block that all out of my mind of, my people saying, don't take that route. And why don't you just go to school and get a real job like your sister?
A real job. Yeah, that's right. How many of us entrepreneurs have said, get a real job? That's too funny. That's too funny. Yeah. So what were some hacks that you used when you first started? How long ago was that? Years?
Oh, goodness.
20?
Well, that was in 2002. It was 20 years ago this summer.
Wow. Good for you. So what were some of the things that you did then that necessarily you wouldn't be doing now with regards to hacks, like, advertising the paper as an example? So what are some things that you might have done then?
Okay, let's go way back. So we're talking way back when, I think there were still a lot of people on dial-up internet.
Yeah.
So back before social media and Facebook, we didn't have that luxury. So I was heavy into things like Yellow Pages, for example.
Yeah.
And just in, doing, working with my colleagues that were at the fitness center and doing, little events within the gym, and just getting up into the gym and getting to know some of the members and the members of the gym and so on. But what else did I use? We used something called the coupon, these little cutout coupons where you buy one, get one free.
Yeah.
Johnny's coupon.
Johnny's coupons. There's a branding machine right there. And tell me, the guy's name had to be Johnny, right? I always love that.
Probably. I think so.
So Johnny's coupons. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Talk about your first year. How did it go?
Oh, goodness. The first year, it's always hard. Because again, you're learning, but yet I just felt like a queen. I felt so proud of myself for having this little tiny, like I said, 100 square foot office space that was all mine, and booking my appointments in my then, handy journal paperback of writing clients' bookings in and so on. And I did have a sense of pride, but on the other hand, like I said, I did not know what I was doing at that time. I was going with my gut and going with word of mouth.
I love it.
And just learning as I go. Just really did a lot of learning as I go, which is, I wouldn't necessarily recommend to anybody else starting off. It's kind of a slow way to do it, if you would. I found for me, things didn't really start to click business-wise until I did the mentorship thing and got a coach and all that.
Yeah, and you're very good with that. You help out. You get out. And ask for help quite a bit. So we'll talk about that in a second. So where did you go from there? From the gym to how long were you there?
So that was my first about 5 years of business. And at that point, I was already at a complete capacity for my own clientele. So I needed to bring somebody else in with me, which was an extremely hard thing for me to do.
Right.
Like any other entrepreneurs, you always think that you have to be the only one to do it. Delegating to someone else is very difficult. You have to really just kind of push through that trust issue that we have with other people, and just hope and pray that we're making a good hire and that we're bringing on the right person to represent us. So at that point, the gym did close down after about 5 years. And at that point, I could have just, gone and started my clinic somewhere else. But what I did is I negotiated with the owners of the building owners, and they did a build to suit. And I took a leap of faith and at least had them build a clinic for me that was, a much bigger clinic where I was able to bring in other massage therapists to work with me as well. So
let's talk about
what we did, and that's the next step.
I'm going to pause here, Kim. It says your network bandwidth is low. Does that make sense? I see it on mine. It says Kimberly's
bandwidth is low. Okay. You know what? I bet you other people have, I'm going to shut off my internet from my phone. And is that what causes it, when there's too many people with the internet on at the same time?
Yeah, it's possible. Anyway, we can keep going, and we'll see what I don't want to hold up the conversation, but yeah, so just turn that off and we can go from there. So just Curtis is production guy. So Curtis, we're going to just have you eliminate that little part of the conversation, and away we go again. Thanks, Kim, for doing that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I hope it helps.
Yeah. Well, we're getting your voice anyway, which is important. Okay, so you did the build out and you got a big space. How'd you go find people to work in your space with you?
Well, I posted some ads because back then it was easy to find employment for other, to recruit. Recruitment wasn't as much of an issue as it is nowadays.
Yes.
So, yeah. So I think at that point it was putting out an ad in the newspaper. We put out an ad in, maybe it could have been Kijiji back then. I'm not even sure if it was Kijiji. Could have been. I don't remember. I think I contacted the schools, of course, and let them know that we were hiring, so that their students coming out would know that we were hiring. Something else, another key that I did do was, I knew that I needed massage therapists, and to grow this out, I was going to have to put myself in front of them so they could get to know who I was. So they would want to come work for me.
Right.
So what I did is I actually reached out to the college itself and did a little bit of work with the students at the college as a supervisor. Yeah. So as a clinic supervisor. So, that really put me right in the forefront of those students. And I'm so glad that I did that, because I was able to bring some of those students in to work with me. And some of those students, one of those students actually still works for me. And another one, maybe coming to work for me, and she's worked for me before, and she's one of my associates. So we built some fantastic relationships that have really lasted, the test of time, from having done that, that one little trick, if you would, of just really going to work for the school and putting myself in front of the people I'm going to eventually need to bring on to help grow my business.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. So what you did is, you say it was a trick. I call it a strategy. Give yourself some credit for that, because it really was a cool strategy to do that. Of course, relationships are being born. You're going to ask questions, and you're not coming across as selling. In that case, you're coming across as helping. So, which ultimately is what the sales process is all about. So how many people you have in your amazing business now?
Okay, well, right now we're at about 9, soon to be 10.
Yes.
And that's right here in our clinic in Milledgeville.
Right on.
So we offer massage therapy, we have acupuncture, we do reflexology, Reiki, holistic health, and mental health counseling. And so, so we have an array. We're really a multidisciplinary clinic with all kinds of fantastic professionals and clinicians working here.
And do those staff members of yours, are they independent, or are they staff of Serene?
So a couple of them are on their own. We have a bit of a mixture, if you would, of employee and contractors, and just some independent practitioners that just come in and do their services, rent space, and we refer our clientele back and forth. So it's a really nice mixture of a little bit of all of that.
Yeah, I love it. So we just came through a time period where you weren't allowed to touch people. So how did you handle the proverbial COVID pandemic?
So thankfully, we have a college of massage therapists that we are governed by, who gave us all of the rules that we needed to follow so that we could, remain open, even when everybody else was shut down. It shut down, of course, for those first 2 months, but then they gave us all of the important protocols that we had to follow, which we put into place, and we just followed those so that we were able to continue to safely see all of our clientele and still be able to give them the best, massage therapy services.
But you still got to use hands. You just got to use hands. How did they? I mean, it's a no touch zone. You couldn't even stand within 6 feet of somebody at the grocery store.
Well, I mean, obviously that's not an option when you're, for massage therapists.
Yes, because it was I'm just wondering, it's because it had some, medicinal approach or components to it that's why. You tell me, but I'm curious.
Yeah.
It's wonderful that you were able to still continue to provide the service, but how tell me, were they people dressed differently? How did they handle their hands? A lot of scrubbing?
Well, luckily we were considered one of the more essential services or essential, business types to be open, similar to a dentist or, your physio because people need those types of services.
Yeah.
You know, we are in that, you know, medical realm, if you would, holistically, that we are, you know, had to see our clients anyway. So how it looked like was, oh my goodness, I hope we never have to go back to that again. That's all I have to say.
Right.
We had to have gowns that were, you know, long gowns that buttoned all the way up. We had to be covered. We had to have our masks on. And if we were working near the face, we had to have a mask, face shield. And, you know, it was just tons and tons of sanitation or of sanitization.
Yeah.
And, you know, sanitizing doors and the plexiglass and, you know, taking cash and wiping it down. It was just,
oh my gosh, crazy.
so much.
Well, you obviously, did you have any inspectors come in and see you during that time period?
No, we didn't. But I mean, if they had us, we
Yeah,
have
you've been ready for
all
them.
our protocols. We
Absolutely.
were good. I think we have a really great clinic manager, and she was just impeccable with all of the
Oh, that's great.
protocols and stuff. So we had nothing to worry about there at all.
All right, well, let's talk about a pivot from Serene Physique to Serene Workforce. Talk to our audience about that.
So, yeah, definitely. Pivot is a great word. Just prior to COVID, one of my business strategies was with Serene Physique, the massage therapy clinic, was going into companies and seeing their employees and doing massage therapy on site, which is also one of my passions professionally.
Right.
So, and that was just really taking off. You know, we had lots of clients here in the city, companies we were going into doing massage therapy for their employees. They were loving it. And we were really, you know, that was just about to, you know, really launch and take off. And then the pandemic hit. So all of that work, all of that expectation went straight into the ditch. I spent a long time having to think of how am I going to now be able to provide, you know, this type of help to employees. And with the now, you know, remote work from home that a lot of people are doing, I really had to sit down and figure out what I was going to do next. So I called in a business coach back then, and Dan Abate is fantastic, helped me create a new business model that would include virtual aspects, including virtual one-on-ones where I can meet with my clients virtually. It included webinars where I can do monthly webinars for employees, for staff, to be able to add value in the way of helping to decrease pain, decrease stress, prevent injuries on the job, and all of those wonderful things that companies need today.
Right.
And as well with that is being able to suggest that they go to, you know, a massage therapy clinic that is associated with our clinic to be able to get a corporate discount and get a fantastic.
You vet those. You vet those. And what's interesting about that is from a strategy perspective, you're not just saying you have to come to us to get that discount. You vet competitors, and I think that's got to make the entire space healthier for everybody. So I think that's a very unique strategy. How come you decided not to just focus in on you to refer people to your business versus something else? I think it's a very intelligent move.
Well, because I guess they suggest because it wasn't about me. Does that make sense? It wasn't about me. It wasn't about my business. It wasn't about my clinic. It was about the employees and what works for them. They may not work. They may not, you know, maybe they don't work or live in the city. Maybe they prefer to go outside of the city, or maybe, you know, and not only that way does it make it more convenient for the employee, but it also helps the clinic that we're associated with, because we're essentially bringing them business and doing the legwork for the sales that they now don't have to do.
And that then gives you the opportunity to also get some referrals back for the workforce part of your business.
100%
from those organizations.
So it's all about educating people and sending them and putting them in the right direction and helping the employees, while also helping the field. It seemed to be a great full circle model.
I love it. I love it. So right now you're in the beginning stages of bringing that out to the marketplace. Can you talk about going into a new market? What are some of the things that you've done to prepare to go into a new market so that entrepreneurs that are listening to this say, yeah, I'd love to be able to do that too. Or I got my business in the same situation. What do I do now? Can you talk a bit about that?
So I guess it's looking at where to go out into a new market. It is, it does take a lot of, a bit of a mental shift as well. And it also means thinking much bigger,
right?
Which is something that as entrepreneurs, sometimes we limit ourselves, and you have to really go through that mental shift. So now that I've done that, I knew I was going to need somebody to, give me some advice and so on. So I did hire a coach. So with that, I really have been using some social media strategies to really get in to meet some of our prospects.
Yep.
And one of the ones that I've been using mostly has been LinkedIn.
Right.
And just using that as a opportunity to get in front of all of the local human resource people that are going to be the ones that are ultimately going to be using these services that we provide. I
love it. And so, yeah, LinkedIn's a great platform because it's business, it's professional, and it's got a great search engine to help you really hone in as to the type of people who you want to connect with. So I think that's really awesome. So, perfect. Yeah. So, okay. So Serene Workforce is what's your vision for Serene Workforce? If you look 2-3 years down the road, because I know what you want to do with regards to Serene Physique, but Serene Workforce, can you talk a little bit about that long term?
Yeah. Well, long term, I would like to be able to have this again, like any business. We all have big hopes and aspirations. My goal is to be able to help as many companies as possible improve their employee health and wellness while improving their own corporate bottom line. And we will start that. We are starting that right here in our hub city of St. John. And then we will grow that out into the Moncton, Fredericton, Halifax. The beauty of this model is that it really doesn't have a geographic boundary preventing us from going to Toronto or on other cities, in Canada.
Yeah.
So my long-term 2-3 years is to be able to offer this out to multiple tens of, dozens of companies.
Yeah. Well, let's just say you're able to do it because you're not limited by the traditional forms of business, i.e. Location, i.e. Having staff, i.e. just kind of having limitations on when you do things, because even in the winter you can be doing the same thing that you do in the summertime. Exactly. So you're really not limited by that.
Yeah, and like I said earlier in the interview, I have been doing this now for 20 years.
Right.
And as a registered massage therapist, that's a lot of time and a lot of work on our hands and on our body. And who's to say that this is something that I want to, I hopefully want to be able to maintain all of my knowledge while keeping my body in a decent shape as well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I need to look at also ways that I can still take the knowledge that I have and the information that I can provide to help our clients without all of that work on my body. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense. I've always wondered about the long terms for people as massage professionals as to how they keep going after a certain time period. So I think that's smart. I think it's a key pivot you're making. And now the focus is to just drive home that strategy which you've developed with, again, a group of people. So talk to me about what are some tricks or some tips, words of advice you could give to just entrepreneurs in general?
I would definitely suggest entrepreneurs, if you do not have a business coach or mentor, get one now. It's otherwise these waters can get very rough, as we've all seen in the last couple of years.
Yep.
But as entrepreneurs on our journey, they can be a tough road anyway. I highly suggest a mentor, a coach, and read tons of books, whatever you're looking to grow as a business owner, whatever part of that you're looking to become better at, get books on that. There's so many wonderful business authors out there.
And one of them is by the name of Gary
Vaynerchuk. Yes, I did have the pleasure of meeting Gary, and he actually solidified my entire idea of working with companies and helping employees back in 2017 at Archangel Summit in Toronto. And, his validation of how he thought that this was such a very super smart idea and that he was very into it, is how he said, and was very encouraging to me to continue to pursue down this road.
So I see you have your name written down as Kimberly V. Is that because he does his Gary V?
No, that's just because my last name is Vincent.
I think it's cool.
I like that you looked into that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I wanted to bring up Gary V. So I love the book part of it. I love the coach part of it. And in the fact that, you set some realities. It can be a muddy journey along the way. And you want to make sure that you've got the right advice coming your way. And in the beginning, that's particularly important to get that so that you don't end up wasting time or money in the very beginning. And there's lots of resources that are around. So talk about the support in the Maritime region, Atlantic Canada region. You obviously tie it into type of support that you're getting right in your own backyard in St. John.
Yeah. So, oh goodness, the type of support that we get right in the backyard. So there are some really great people. I met you, Rivers, here through St. John through the EDGE program. Here in St. John. And then I've met some other really fantastic people who have helped with there are some programs that are out there to help with a little bit of expenses and funding to help grow businesses. And, I have met some fantastic people through that who have put me in the direction to be able to take advantage of some of those programs. So I highly recommend to check out what is available in your province in the way of some types of provincial assistance and provincial
lots of it
programs.
out there.
Yeah. And then the other thing is just networking with your own peers, networking with the people who are like-minded, people who are growth-minded, who are going to help pull you in the direction that you want to go. My other piece of advice would be to think about where it is that you want to go. And find the people who have done that and spend some time with them. Ask them some questions. Spend some time to learn what it was that they did to get them where they are. That in itself, just that very valuable information can help save an entrepreneur tons of frustration, potential failure, and, overcome all those adversities that we go through as entrepreneurs.
What do you say to somebody who says, they're not going to want to help me? They're not going to want to help me. What do you say to that person that says that?
I say that's a limited mindset.
Yeah, pile of bull, right? Pile of bull.
Pile of it. Not only that, I think that if an entrepreneur if me as a business owner, if somebody called me and said, I'd love to hear your story of how you got to where you are, can I get 15 minutes of your time? I would be flattered.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of them most likely would be. Now, mind you, they're also probably very busy and you're going to have to work with them on their timing to do that.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of them would be more than happy and most likely flattered to have the opportunity to be able to reach down and help pull somebody else up.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So Kim, how can people get a hold of you, my friend? How can people get a hold of you you and of course Serene Workforce Physique. How do you get a hold of all those magical entities, but also yourself?
Okay. So we are, of course, on all of the social media platforms, LinkedIn being one of my favorites. Serene, you can find Kimberly White-Vincent on on LinkedIn. Serene Workforce is on Facebook, on Instagram. And what's the other one? Yeah, so the other way would be, of course, through serenephysique.com and sereneworkforce.com. And
Love
of course, if you wanted to just give us a call at our office, like it's 1989, you can do that too.
It's 1989. I love it.
We do still we do love to talk to people, and we do love getting phone calls. So it's 506-652-HEAL. That's 4325.
I think that's wonderful. It's been a long time since someone's given me their quote unquote landline phone number. That's so wonderful. Well, Kim, you're a great entrepreneur. You really are zoning into a sense of can-do attitude, a sense of I'm going to take some risk, but that's okay because the return is long-term. You know about pivoting, you know about adversity, and 20 years plus. Take her offer, give her a call. She's wonderful. She's very, very approachable. And the White-Vincent, there's a dash, right? You don't do it all in one word.
Nope, there is a dash, correct.
Yeah, there's a dash. The reason is when you're looking for her, obviously on LinkedIn or any other social pieces, then you can just make sure you spell her last name right. And it's Kimberly with an E-Y, L-E-Y?
L-E-Y, correct.
Got it. These little nuances. Coming with the name Rivers, I'm very, very particular on making sure that people get the names right. So
absolutely.
So Kim, thanks so much for your time today. It's been a great privilege and a pleasure to have this conversation. And we'll look forward to the next time and catching up with you.
Thank you so much. This was super fun, Rivers. I appreciate the time. You have a fantastic night. I hope everybody does well.
Thanks now.